morning, everyone. How is everyone today? So we had a full moon last night. Everybody survived. Nobody turned into a werewolf. So today we are going to talk about how to make moon water. And it's really, really simple. But it is something that somebody has asked about. So I wanted to go over it. Making moon water is pretty simple. Let's see here. Totally lost my place already. So before that, I guess I wrote some notes here. So basically, hundreds of years ago, people would go outside during all kinds of weather to dance under the full moon, which is kind of where, the legends came of witches dancing under the moon and sacrifice and all that crazy stuff. But they would just go out because they would feel the energy of the moon, and so they wanted to go out and they wanted to celebrate the moon, and they would dance under it. And that's where the term lunatic actually came from. So lunatic was basically a word to describe free souls that danced under the moon, which lunatics later became a totally another meaning. But they were people who would go dance for the lunar energy. So that's where the word lunatic comes from, just in case anybody wanted to know that. So we did have the full moon last night, and we've gone over this before. So during a new moon is when you want to set your intentions, and a full moon is when you want to release. We're going to do that at the very end of today. We're going to just do a really quick little bit on that for you. But back to how to make magical moon water. So basically, it's really simple. You're going to just take a glass jar, and you can cover it or not cover it. I suggest you don't cover it. If you want to cover it, just especially if you're going to actually put it outside, which we can't do here at this time because we'd wake up to an ice cube. But if you were going to put it outside and you didn't have a clear cover, you could just put a piece of plastic wrap over it just for the time being. I really like this jar. I got it right down at the dollar store because the lid and everything is completely clear. So there's no dark cover that goes over it or anything. So you're just going to want to use some sort of filtered water or distilled water. I used my tap water because we get it from a well. We don't get it from a town source here. So I just went ahead and used my tap water because it does come right off the mountain here from the back. So I'm comfortable with using that water. And all you're going to want to do is you're going to want to put it somewhere outside or in a window that is going to get the moonlight. And people ask this all the time, what if it's cloudy and you can't see the moon? It's perfectly fine. The moon comes through and affects the oceans. It affects us. A couple of clouds isn't going to change the moon's beams and energy from coming down on us. So you can certainly, still set stuff out if it's going to be cloudy. Last night it was cloudy. I couldn't see the moon at all. I could see where the moon was, and because it was kind of lit in that part of the sky, but I couldn't see the moon itself anywhere last night because it was just way too cloudy here. But as usual, I took off all my jewelry, all my stones, everything. Crystals went down to my altar. And I took a picture of it this morning before I put everything back. So I'm going to put that picture up just so you can kind of see that I had everything all laid out there. And so this morning I had to get up because I had to put all my jewelry back on, all my rings, my bracelets, everything I had to go back on because I took it all off for setting it out during the full moon for the charge last night. But So yeah, so moon water. So it, like I said, you just want to take tap water or distilled water, or spring water if you have a source that is clean. Like I said, mine comes off the mountain, but we do have a filtration system before it comes to the house. So if you know you have a good source of water, you can use that. I wouldn't recommend buying bottled water and then doing it. Um, I mean, you really can, but it's probably not the best way to do it. In a glass jar, not plastic, and clear cover. And so, and then you just put it out. You can surround it with crystals, which is what I did. And again, you'll see the picture when I post it in the comments for you. I didn't go all the way around. I set this towards the farthest away from the window, and I put all the crystals and gems that I had in front of so the moon came through to the crystals and then to the jar last. So that I didn't want any of the crystals behind the jar because of the way the moon comes through my window. If you were going to set it right outside, you could certainly put the gems all the way around. I'm really, like I said, there's never really a wrong or right way to do this stuff. There's a few little things, like I said, would not want to put this in plastic. You would not want to store it in plastic. There's just too many chemicals that seep out of the plastic into the water, and you don't want to drink those. I, on a personal note, don't like to drink anything out of a plastic bottle, whether it be soda, water, iced tea, anything. If I go into a store to get a drink, I always try to buy in a glass container, just because, like I said, anything that's plastic for a bottle can seep into your liquid, and you're going to drink it. And eventually what happened to me is those chemicals built up my body, and I had a reaction to them. So, moon water, easy, super easy to make. You can put a crystal right inside the water. Excuse me. You can put a crystal right inside the water. Before you do that, make sure you find out if your crystal can be in water. There are some that the water will damage them. And you want to make sure that there's nothing in the properties of the crystal that may be bad. If there's something that's got iron or certain other properties, you may not want to use those. So just check whatever crystal you want to put right directly into the water. And again, if you have questions, you can always send me a message or comment on a post, and I will answer it for you. But you can buy water bottles now that come with a little thing that you put the crystal in, because they used to make it for fruit. Now they got one for crystals. So you can buy a water bottle just that comes with a spot for your crystal inside. But again, you'd always want to just make sure you know what crystal you're going to be using. That it's, first of all, it's okay for the crystal, and it's okay for you. Got my tea as always this morning. Sorry, I didn't put my phone on silent, and somebody's obviously having a conversation with me that I'm not responding to. But that's okay. So, like I said, fill your glass bottle, your glass container, filtered water, put it out, leave it out overnight. They say 24 hours. I put mine out last night before I went to bed, and I took it down this morning. I think that's perfectly fine. It's, not any better or weaker because of that. Because anything with the lunar magic, you really have like a 48-hour window, really. You can do 24 hours before and 24 hours after is a good time to do any kind of ritual work that you want to do, or energy work, charging of your crystals, water, anything like that. All right. So, like I said, you can surround it by crystals if you wanted. So just a few examples here was, if you were looking for prosperity, you might want to put green aventurine in it, around it. If you were looking for peace and happiness, you could use angelite. If you were looking for wisdom, you might use sapphire. So just a few examples of what crystals you may put around it. I put all my crystals around it and charge it up, supercharged. So allow it to charge overnight. Like I said, you can cover it. I'm just making sure I didn't miss anything here. And then There's a little blessing in here that I will put up as well for you. So if you wanted to say the little blessing, it's just like a little thank you blessing for the water. I said it last night before I put the water out. You can put it, say it before, you can say it after. I said it before, but it's kind of long to read, so I will just take a picture of that. Sorry, I have something that is really itching me today. All right, so there's basically a couple of ways to use your moon water after you've made it. So one of the ways is you can just add it to your bath. You know, if you were wanted to add it to your bath, I would certainly suggest maybe using a bigger container than this. But you wouldn't just use the jar for your bath. You know, you could just put even, you know, just a little teeny bit into your bath water. You don't need a lot, just, you know, a tablespoon or something into your water, and use it that way. You would want to start with pouring it down over your third eye and into the tub. So that's one way you can use it. The other way you can use it, which I can show you right now, it's just super easy, is you're just going to open it and you're just going to put, you're just going to just dab my finger in it. I'm just going to dab it right there on my third eye. So for me, this size jar, because this is how I'm going to use it, is most likely going to last me the month till the next full moon when I can make another batch. So I didn't need a real big container. I wasn't going to put it in my bathtub. I don't have a bathtub that I can actually use as a bathtub. It's too small. So so that's just a real easy way, and it's, you know, like I said, anything that's easy for me is awesome because I tend to be super busy. So this can just go on my bathroom stand next to my sink, and in the morning when I'm just doing my makeup stuff, I can just do that and quick, I'm done. Another way people do like to use it is, first of all, I don't actually carry cash anymore, but some people like to anoint their money. So if you anoint your money before you spend it, the idea behind it is by anointing it and sending it out, you're going to receive it back. And if you believe in the threefold, that's whatever you put out into the world, you get back threefold, which is a nice thought. So if every dollar you spend out there, you're going to get $3 back. That would be pretty cool. So you can anoint your money. Like I said, I don't carry cash. I guess you could anoint your debit card or your credit card if you wanted to. But another thing is just, you could just get a couple of coins and anoint them and send them out. You know, you don't have to be pouring it over $100 bills and stuff. You could just dab it on a couple of coins and that would be fine. So the other thing you may use is for clearing your stones. So we have talked way back at some point about all the different ways to clear your stones, and one of them was through water. And so by doing the moon water, you're just getting that extra cleansing of your stone, because you're going to be cleansing and charging at the same time. So if you were somebody who was doing a lot of energy work and you know, just really felt that maybe even once a month for charging your stones during the full moon wasn't enough, you could make this in, like I said, you could make it in bigger quantities. You know, it's just a glass jar and water in the moon, so you can, as big of a jug as you can find is what you can make. You can, you know, then pour it over your crystals. And again, you'd always want to check, make sure which crystals are ones that you would not want to get wet. But you could do that. And again, if you ever use your water, your moon water, to clear your crystals, again, when you're done, you know, you'd want to catch that in a bowl, or you could be outside and pour it over and just let the water go down onto the ground. But again, for us right now, it's pretty cold here, so If you are going to do this, you know, most likely you're going to do it inside. So just have a bowl, catch the water, and then when you're done, you can just take the bowl and dump it outside. So that is another way to use it. Somebody asked this research paper that I'm using for the moon water didn't cover it, but somebody asked if they could drink it. You certainly can drink it. There's it's not like the moon put radiation or anything in it. There's absolutely no reason why you couldn't drink it. So if you wanted to make this and drink it, you know, if you certainly had the containers and the space to do it, I would love to make 30 little jars like this and then use them each for my tea in the morning, because I think that would be a really great way to use your moon water. Unfortunately, I don't have space or the jars to do that. Maybe at some point I can find maybe 5 or 6 bigger jars and then, you know, use that to make my tea or something, but you can certainly drink it. If you are going to make a large amount and you don't think that you're going to use it in the month, I would suggest refrigerating it, just because after a while water can get bacterial, you know, growth and stuff in it. So you know, if you are going to be drinking it and you don't think you're going to use it within the 30 days or so, you would definitely want to put it in the fridge. So before we go, I did want to just kind of talk about some of the releasing that we're going to do during the full moon. And again, the full moon was last night, but you have about 24 hours to do it. So, you know, anywhere up till, you know, midnight or so tonight, you know, even tomorrow morning, you can certainly still do your releasing. Personally, my belief on that is any time is a good time to release anything. If it's not yours, get rid of it. If you don't want it, get rid of it. But it is a good time at the full moon to just, I think the full moon is a good time to sit down and think about it and make it a very conscious, very aware releasing. But any time you can release energy, negative energy. But this is more for releasing something like sadness or anger, jealousy, hate, resentment, anything like that. So it's not necessarily the energies of somebody else, although you certainly can, you know, if there's somebody else's baggage you're carrying around, if you've taken on somebody else's emotions, especially empaths. Hi, Amanda. Thanks for popping on. If you've taken on somebody else's energies, and you certainly are going to want to get rid of those. But this, what we're talking about for today, is more just of a release of your own stuff. But you can, like I said, there's really no right or wrong way. You can release anything, anytime. The full moon is just a really good time to be aware of that and make that a very conscious release. So for tonight or today, whenever you want to do it, most everybody has a jar of bay leaves in their cupboard. I usually have a couple. If you don't, you can use anything that would be organic. You can go outside and get a leaf off the lawn, because most of us have some sort of leaf on the lawn. If you don't have a leaf on the lawn, which I can't believe, but you know, if you don't, you can always use a leaf from a plant inside. If you come back and say, I don't have any plants, Julie, use anything that's organic. Use some lettuce out of your fridge. Use an apple. Use an orange. Use a banana. Whatever you've got in your house. And I can't get this bag open. That would be organic. You can go ahead and use it. It doesn't have to be a leaf. Just leaf is, usually somebody can find a leaf at some point somewhere. But again, trying not to totally demolish this bag, but it's not working. All right, there we go. So I'm going to take out a couple of leaves. Leaf, Sharpie. That's pretty much all you need for this one. And maybe a little bit more, but so for each leaf, you're going to want to write something that you want to release. So I will write, a lot of the times I doubt myself. So I want to release that, get rid of it. Don't want to doubt myself anymore. I do often, even though most people don't see it too much, I do tend to get angry. So I'm going to try to release that anger. Another one, which is a big one for me, control. The fact that I can't control everything. I tend to want to take control of everything, do it my way. I tend to think my way's always better, or my way's always right. So, which is weird because somebody who would doubt themselves shouldn't be a control freak, but it's a little bit different. I doubt myself, like when speaking. So like when talking to you guys, sometimes I doubt myself with that. And I'm getting better at it, but definitely still speaking to people in person when somebody asks me something or says something. Sometimes I don't always say what I want to say, because I'm afraid I'm going to get that really weird look of like, what are you, a witch? What are you, crazy? Oh yeah, So I don't always say what I want to say. So that's the doubt. And I guess probably a little bit of fear. So maybe I'm going to, now that I just put it all away, I'm going to grab the fourth one and just write fear on it. So there's my alarm for work. Just going to wait a minute because we're not done. So there. So I've got a fourth one that says fear. And so once you've done that, and when you're doing this, you can certainly, I showed you guys I bought my selenite wand. You could certainly open your circle and you could welcome in, all the guardians, the north, the east, the south, the west. You could say, thank each one. You can ask each one, tell each one why you've asked them there. Then you can do the ritual. Then after, you can close the circle and thank them for being there. But if you don't want to do all that, you don't really need to. It just really depends on what you're comfortable with and how much time you want to spend. I think the more time you spend with it, the better results, because again, you're just going to be sitting with it and conscious and aware. You're going to have more thought into it. So once you have your leaves that are written on, you're going to light them on fire. You don't have to burn them all the way down, because honestly, bay leaves burn horribly. But you're just going to want to burn it down without burning your fingers. You can't see that, but it is burning. And I do have a little bowl here. Usually the bowl I use for my sage. So that bowl is here. I'm just going to kind of speed this up. Normally I would burn them a little bit better. All right. It smells really good too. And there's actually a little bit of thyme in my bowl from another sage bundle. So that is actually catching on fire and smelling as well. Again, you're going to see them go on fire. Try not to burn my finger. I'm just burning up all this, the doubt, the fear, the anger, the control. We're just setting it all on fire and getting rid of it. Don't want it anymore. So you can see a little bit, it's all burning down. And so I'm going to burn it down a little bit more because they're not completely burned. But you want to burn them down. And then what you're going to do is you're going to take the ashes. You don't want to throw them away. You never want to throw away your ashes. It doesn't matter what it's from. If it's from your incense, from your sage, from a releasing ceremony, anything that's got ashes left to it, you don't want to just throw them in the garbage. And so it sounds tricky, but it's really not. You want to bury them once you're done with your ashes. And if you're like me, I have a ton of plants in my house. And so I can simply just put them, just move the dirt a little bit, put the ashes in, put the dirt back on top. If you want, you can take them outside and bury them. But again, it's pretty chilly around here right now, and nobody really wants to go outside and dig in the ground. But you can if you want to. You can take them outside and burn them if you certainly want to. Bury them. I'm burning them now. And bury them if you want to, but I'm not going to because I don't like to be outside in the cold. So I'm going to take my ashes, and you always want to bury your ashes to the east. And again, it's not that tricky. I have a little compass app on my phone that tells me which way is east, and I know east is that way for me, which is that way. And I actually have a plant that is sitting directly in that line that's sitting right in my living room. So that is going to be where I will be burying my ashes for this event. So I'm just gonna, I can't do it now because I have to go to work, but when I get home tonight, I can just take a minute and take the ashes. I'll actually take my, I have a mortar and stuff, so I'm gonna actually, just finish that up and make it a nice powder. And then I'm gonna put it in the plant. Ashes are also really great for your plant. So there's a lot of nutrients and things in it that are good for your plant. So even if you want to burn like your incense ones, which don't have to really be buried to the east if you don't want to, but like I have a big plant here to the side of me that started out as this little plant, and now it's this gigantic tree thing. And I always dump my incense ashes into that, and then I don't even bury them. I just dump it on the top, and then when the next time I water it, it just kind of, seeps down in. But again, you don't want to really bury your, throw away your ashes of any sort. So that was basically just the quick version of how to make moon water, what to do with it once you've made it, and a quick little full moon ceremony that you can do. Like I said, super easy. Most people have leaves. Most people have a Sharpie, and most people have a lighter. So, or a match of some sort. Again, you could make it very elaborate. You could use your wand and open your circle and call in your elements and your guides. You could call in ancestors if you wanted to, which would be really great at this time of year because, we're doing a lot of ancestral work with the thinning of the veil. You could certainly light candles. You could bring in crystals of anything that might help you with your releasing. You can meditate. There's a lot more you can do. But again, if you don't really want to, you don't really have to. You can just make it real simple and easy. That was my ceremony right there this morning. I wrote out my 4 things. I've burned them. And then when I get home from work, I'm going to put them in my plant tonight. And that was it. So it didn't have to be anything, super big or fancy. I do have a candle going. And like I said, you can always smudge. But I recommend that you just smudge all the time anyway. You can light incense. But again, in my house, pretty much incense are going all the time if I'm home anyway. So a lot of those things that you could incorporate, they're in my daily routine anyway. So it's not, to me, it's not so much of a ritual practice because it's more of an everyday practice. But, if you want to do that, you certainly can. So if you have any questions or anything, like I said, you can just pop on and ask me a question. send me a private message, whatever you feel comfortable doing. I will put the little, I don't even know what I did with it. I will put the little incantation up in the comments for this, and I will put the picture that I told you guys of all my stones that were out for the full moon for last night. So those are there. Lastly, before I go, I told you guys I was going to give away this rose quartz and this perfume if someone posted a picture in the group of their sacred space, their altar. If you don't have an altar, if you don't have a sacred space, you know, it can be just a space where you go to sit, where you go to be alone. Can be inside, can be outside, could be your car for all I care. Just someplace where you go that, you know, is for you. And so that is up for grabs. I'm going to hopefully give it away on Tuesday morning. Nobody has posted a picture yet. So if somebody does, most likely you're going to get it. So that's one person. I feel like it has a home that it's supposed to be at. So hopefully somebody will do that. If not, then I will just go on to some other thing and we'll try another time to give it away to somebody else. Because I guess if it's the right person's not on here and not watching yet, that's why nobody's getting it yet. I guess it's meant to be. All right, so I have to go to work, so I'm not late. So I hope everybody has a really great day. Remember to be kind. Everybody has a story. Everybody has something going on. You know, the lady in front of you who's making you late for work because she's driving too slow or she's taking too long at the cash register. She may just be having a really crappy day too. She may not be feeling well, whatever the case may be. And sometimes instead of being irritated and grumpy with the person, sometimes if we just show a little kindness, that could change her whole day. And personally, I think it's good for you if you can avoid the anger and avoid the irritation and replace that for yourself with kindness, because then, you know, instead of you spending the rest of your day being annoyed because of that lady at the cash register or the lady that drove too slow and made you late for work, if you can replace that with kindness and understanding, it's going to make your day better, but it's going to make her day better or his, and hopefully that will spread and they will be kind to someone else. So again, just remember, everybody's going through something. Everybody has a story, and we want to spread kindness because it's free and it's something that is contagious that we want to spread. There's not too many things that we can say that for. So have a great day, ladies. Lots of love. Thanks for joining.